haven't really yet gotten into battle belts, but so many people actually use battle belts, whether they're just on the range or for actual duty. And I wanted to give one a try that maybe I could use as a range belt, and this comes from Core Essentials. Now, I haven't unboxed it because I want to take you guys along for the entire ride of my first impressions, cutting this thing to size, and building it out. Now, if you guys remember, I did a video collaboration with Core Essentials a while back, and I still love the EDC belt. In fact, I bought my father one for Christmas. So I can already speak highly to the quality of their products. I need a knife. But again, I haven't really experimented with battle belts at all, so I really wanted to give this one a try and see how I liked it. Now, when they reached out to me, same conditions applied. They just wanted me to give my opinions and show it to you guys. Them sending this to me has no bearing on my opinion. And again, while the last one, I did test it out for well over a month, this one I'm experimenting with for the first time. So real-time thoughts and opinions right here. Let's flip this camera down and get a tabletop view. And this is what you'll see when you get your box. This comes again from Core Essentials, and you're greeted with a stop manual card. As you open this up, you'll see all the instructions on the different style belts. We have a dual belt system that we're checking out here today, so we're going to be using this instruction sheet. An optional item is their belt hanger system. I use mine in my closet for my EDC belt, and this just is for the battle belt. You can clip it right into there, hang it up, and it stores not only some keepers, but the Allen tool you're going to need. And inside we have a few more pieces like an additional Allen tool, the screws that we're going to need, a belt keeper, and the white tape to measure our belt. We have the belt buckle, which these are different, so optional. I chose this style right here, which, similar to the EDC belt, not only clasps on, but screws on as well. And then we have the belts. Here, I ordered the multicam one. So we have the multicam outer belts and the Velcro inner belts. The multicam outer belt that I have has the interior track system, which is what Core is known for, but a Velcro liner. If you remember from the EDC belt, you know that they're marked on the inside. These, given that they have to have the Velcro liner, are not. So you do have to use the measuring tape to cut it. Again, we have the multicam outer belt here, and our measuring tape. We are going to line this portion up with the track piece, which is about right here. And we are going to bring this outwards and cut to size. It is a little bit tricky, I'm not going to lie, only because the belt does have that rolled form right now. But it's not too bad. Let's see. Looking at this big boy pant size here. So right about here is where I'm going to cut. I find that lining it up on the outside might be a tad easier, and something that they note is, as you can see, these stitch lines here, they recommend cutting past a stitch line, not behind. So I'm going to go just a tad over this 36-inch mark. And I've got my razor cutter right here. This is very thick material, so it's probably going to take a lot of work to get through. I'm not going to lie, it's actually a lot easier than I thought. And bam, cut off this piece here, and we're ready to roll. Now it's time to attach the buckle. This is going to slide right in. It's a little bit stiff. I'm going to first back these screws out. Not all the way out, but does that allow us to slide it through? It does not. So I had to back out the screws all the way and slide the belt all the way forward. Not clear in the instructions, but that's my fault. So again, we're going to clamp this down and then tighten the screws, because it seems like these pierce through the belt. Okay, so that was my concern. I didn't think these were going to make it through the belt, but they definitely do. It says not to over-tighten, but this is going through very smoothly. Just until it's flush, which it is flush right there. And now let's do the second one. And bam. Okay, much more solid now. Same exact thing for the inner belt. However, it does note right here, if your pant size is 36, cut the outer belt to the 36 mark and cut the inner belt at a 35 mark, which makes a lot of sense given that the inner belt is going to have a little bit more room for you to adjust, but the outer belt, you want to make sure you have that on top of this room. So I'm going to lay this over, line it up with the end of the inner belt. We're going to bring this all the way around. It's not the easiest. And let's see, we're going to cut this one to that 35 mark right about here. As you can tell, I'm very precise with this. Give it a little tad extra room. Goes through like butter. And we're almost done with this. What I didn't know they included in the package was this little end here. This is teeth on the fabric right here, which helps seal off the end. I assume this can kind of hand tighten over it. Oh, of course, I ripped the bag. But this can just clamp right over. Yeah, you can kind of hand tighten it. I'm probably going to go get some pliers and just make sure that's on a little more solid. Okay, so before we put any pouches or anything on this, let's try out the sizing here. Because I think it's all good. I think I did it right, but we want to triple check. All right, so current belt's coming off. Usually I charge extra for this part. That's what the Patreon guys get to see. And let's try out this inner belt. So we're going to feed it through. It's very stiff, which I'm okay with. I like having stiff, rigid belts, which is kind of why I like the core stuff in its entirety. Okay, and then we're going to bring this part over top here, and bam, we have the Velcro option going all the way around. I'm going to take off the blouse here for now, just because you kind of have to tuck this in to get it to work. So, when we go to loop around the core battle belt, we are bringing it, kind of centering it, and then we can tighten it. Yeah, this thing is a perfect fit. Very comfortable. You can tighten it. I have it pretty tight right now, but yeah, you can loosen it. In fact, I actually think this is supposed to go the other way. They explain in the instructions, but maybe, yeah, the belt buckle goes this way. Forgive me, I'm used to Euro kit stuff, so all of it's pretty backwards. If you know, you know. Yeah, this seems like a decent way to have it set up, although it is kind of hard and annoying, but maybe that's with all battle belt setups, to get it centered so that the buckle's in the middle, and wow, that's some sticky Velcro. Let's get this thing built out. One of the things I like best about this is how much it feels like a solid platform. We're gonna build this out and put all the pouches on and see how it does with just a little bit of weight on it, but truthfully, this thing feels rigid and tough, which I think is my favorite part about any belt setup for any EDC or even casual wear. I like something that feels solid, and this kind of does that trick really, really well. The other thing I love, of course, is that micro adjustment. It is strong, it is rigid, doesn't slip from my experience at least, and it can, again, give you that flex that you need. Like if I wanted the thing tight because I was carrying a lot of weight on it, which you'll see, I'm not actually going to be putting a pistol on this. I like that on my pants belt, which would kind of go on this inner belt anyway. But you can also loosen it if you want something just a little lighter, if you're just carrying a few things. So let's build this thing out with some of the accessories. And we're going to start right in the back with probably the biggest one, and that is an IFAK pouch. This is an LBT style IFAK pouch, and luckily, it slips right through the belt loops. We're going to bring this all the way through. It is a little bit stiff, but again, going right to the center of the rear. And let's just see, is that lined up? So I'm sitting about there. Yeah, that looks pretty centered in the back. Just like that. That was pretty cool. Next pouch I want to add slides on, and that's a TIP panel. My tip panel is actually not in this right now. I don't know where it is. I got to find it, but I do like having these for signaling. So I'm actually going to slide that over a tad and get the tip panel also on the rear. This doesn't necessarily lock in, but when it is filled with other stuff, it will be just a little bit more solid. But you'll see we're adding more to this, so don't worry, it'll fill out. Next thing I want to do is add a frag pouch. This frag pouch is going to go right up front. Now, I'm not sure exactly where I want to put it, but I'm thinking we might put it on this left side here. The only problem is, which you guys are seeing here, is the adjustment and that extra length does sort of impede where you can put the molly stuff. So I'm going to give myself a little extra room just to be safe. So I'm probably going to put it on these two right here, so I have just a tad more room to adjust if needed. Let's see how it is getting through this molly webbing, because that is tight. Yeah, one of my things with battle belts, and I've even experienced it on some of the Linderhof Tactic multi-cal pouches, is this thin style of molly webbing, as low profile as it is really, really annoying to attach pouches to. Which it can kind of work with some of the modern stuff, but when you've got some older stuff that has the little snap buttons on it and everything, it can be kind of tedious and tough to push through. You can do it, it's just, it doesn't make it a fun experience. Hey, at least it's not old Malice clips. I don't even think that stuff would think about fitting through here. Yeah, this is really tight webbing. I'm going to use pliers too to pull this through. My God, this is really tight webbing. I think that's all the other designs, but maybe it is a negative. If you guys have like those Ronin belts or something that definitely doesn't have as tight of a webbing, let me know. I'm curious. This is, again, my first experience with a battle belt, really, of this style. So take it with a grain of salt, but also give me your feedback in the comments. And I'm not going to put a grenade in there, but instead, some gum. Look at that. Fits in that pouch beautifully. Everyone will think you're an airsofter now, which you probably are. Now I've got 4 more things I want to attach. One of them is my grab tab right here. This is a TGL equipment grab tab, something that I make myself, and I want to add it kind of in a spot where it's easy to access. And I have a perfect place for it. Because it's so low profile and slim, I'm going to put it underneath this part because it doesn't have any external function. It hangs down below. So I'm going to slot that through. Again, it's going to be tough to get that in there, but I think we can do it. I'm going to go from the bottom up this time. And then we got to go through one more piece of webbing. Bam, there we go. We have the TGL grab tab in the belt system now, and still gives all the room you need for the belt to slide over. That's actually kind of convenient. Next thing I want to add is another TGL grab tab, but with some chem lights on it. Chem lights are really great for marking things, and I think it being kind of near the tip panel will help with the overall aesthetic and what the functionality is. So this one I'm going to put sort of up front, but on the same side again as that tip panel. I will have magazines on this belt, don't you worry. It's just going to be a matter of time and placement. And by matter of time, I mean it's coming in like 30 seconds probably. As soon as I can get this on. Here we go. Second grab tab is added, and now I've got those hanging right up front. Maybe I'll move this one over a tad, we'll have to see. But also, I made this one for myself to show off the branding. The commercial ones, which are this style, you'll have the tags on the back. So don't worry, you'll have the multicam out there. I've also got other colors too, so check those out, tglequipment.com. And now we go for 2 more pouches. One, we're going to add a Blue Force Gear pistol pouch. This is a really low profile belt, and while some of the pouches I have on here are a little bit large, apparently I can't open bags, I wanted to keep the rest of them very slim and low profile. Again, I don't often use battle belts, so my intention with this is more going to be a simple, low profile, effective, but not too obstructive belt system. And this one, I want to be very easy access on this side here. We're going to have a rifle magazine pouch not much further back, but I also want to mention that I'm keeping this side clear for a pistol. I usually run a mid-ride style pistol system, so the belt does sit where the grip would be for that pistol, so I'm going to leave this open just so I can easily access it without worry. Again, I don't like a lot obstructing, so this is going to be probably as good as we're going to be able to get it. And we're going to bring it through one more, which I mean I guess is good for keeping things locked on, but it is not fun for putting pouches on. All right, and then there we go. Let's get a pistol mag in here. Let's take a double stack style one, slide it right into the pistol pouch, and bam, there we go. Now, I think what's going to be a really cool test of this belt is to see how it balances out the weight. Again, it is a very rigid system. I have this supported with 4 fingers, kind of around that middle point of the belt. It's not tipping. It doesn't have unbalanced weight so far. So we're going to get the rifle mag pouch on here, see how it does. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated, getting 2 rows on there. Not complicated, it's simple, but it's just kind of annoying. All right, let's do it. So I'm going to put this on to this side right here. Thank the Lord. All right, let's wrap this around and get it. Let's see, I'll wrap it under here. 1 and 2. Let's get a rifle mag in here. Let's try this on. Not gonna lie, this thing is exceedingly comfortable. You know how I said I was a little bit worried about how it balanced the weight? This thing feels like I'm not wearing anything at all. I love how this attaches to that inner belt and keeps everything extremely rigid. It is tough to put things on, but in the long run, once you get it on, and if you're not going to play around with it too much, this thing is a really solid system. Time is going to tell how this thing does long term, but in all actuality, I am extremely impressed. Again, this is my first battle belt, especially of this design. I have the Cry MRB replica from Schecken Gears, as well as some Linderhof Tactic ones, and this thing is really freaking nice. It is pricey, but I think the rigidity that you experience and some of the cool flavors that you can get, like the multicam or the laser cut, OD green, they have multicam black, a whole bunch of different styles. I really like this thing. I think the key here, again, being that micro adjustment that they have, does make it really easy to work with. And while I wasn't necessarily a fan of the couple belt buckle options they had, and I'd love to see that expanded in the future, I don't think it matters too much in the grand scheme of things. You're looking at a solid system with zero sagging on this belt. Couple issues I do have with it, again, being the fact that the multicam is only on that edge right here. I would love to see the multicam on all the nylon pieces really, but I can't complain too much. I also wasn't a fan of how tight that webbing was. I would have loved to have it be just a tad looser, maybe loosen out over time, but it was very difficult to get things in. That probably was the bulk of me filming. It took a lot. But I have a huge thank you to give out to Core Essentials. If you guys think you want to pick up one of these belts for yourselves, or any of the things on their website, use Gear.Locker 10. I don't get any kickback from it, but again, it is a coupon code, 10% off for you guys. Totally free. This is the Gear.Locker. Thank you again so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed my battle belt setup, and huge shout out again to Core Essentials for having me try this. I am pleasantly surprised. This is the Gear.Locker. See you guys in the next one.